Hi, I'm Art Caplan. I'm the head of the Division of Medical Ethics at NYU's Grossman School of Medicine in New York City. So, an interesting item popped up, I believe it was on Reddit, where a doctor was asking a pretty interesting ethical question. He had a patient who, as many patients are these days, was not in a position to pay their medical bill. He was a primary care person, a family doc, and basically, the patient said, "Look, how about we have an exchange? I'll clean your house. I work sometimes as a maid as a way to pay off my bill, and maybe I'll do that, whatever, three, four, 5 times over the course of the coming year. And then we'll be square. I don't have the cash, I don't have insurance, but I would like to, if you will, barter or bargain some in kind service." And the doc was wondering, would this be ethical? Well, in thinking about it and remembering also different descriptions that were provided to me by docs when I was working in states like Minnesota, where there was a heavy rural population, there's a long tradition of people paying doctors with services or with products that they agree upon. So you'll find a lot of the old time docs saying, "Yeah, I used to get a fair amount of produce or sometimes meat, and that would be brought in, and that was a way that people paid for their bills in the past." But even today, with many people facing severe medical debt, a lot of people finding that it's hard for them to keep or get a job, or maybe their job is low paying and they need that money for rent and to take care of their own kids. There are plenty of people who still are trying to offer, not just the lady who said, "I'll clean your house," services. So I've seen people and been told about people who will say, "I can handle your publicity. I run a small operation that does social media, and maybe you'd like some free help in designing your website or getting a social media footprint that's much bigger." So that's the modern version of, "I'll bring you in a couple of chickens or some eggs to pay for services." And I don't think there's any prohibition in medical ethics that I'm aware of that patients have to use cash or have to use insurance money to pay their bills. I think bartering is ethical. It may seem a bit unfortunate that we're in a position where a lot of people don't have insurance coverage or they don't get it through work and they're facing debt that just would tip them over into bankruptcy if forced to pay their doctor's bills. It's probably the case that this is a situation where some doctors are willing to do it. You don't have to accept those terms. I find it hard to imagine that there are going to be hospitals saying you can pay your bill through services or barter. More likely, providers, doctors, maybe some nurses might go this route. But again, at its core, there is nothing unethical if the two parties agree on the exchange and that the service will cover the bill. The only problem I have with the house cleaning situation is I'm not sure it's good for the patient to be in the doctor's house. It may be that that's a little too intimate a connection in terms of what the patient knows about their doctor. It may feel somewhat coercive to have somebody cleaning the house in a way that isn't true when they bring you a bunch of eggplant or string beans. It may be that people think it's just inappropriate to be put into a situation of more intimacy. But even there, I'm not sure that's a huge problem. It's just one that everybody has to agree on. Maybe the house gets cleaned when the doctor isn't home or the doctor and their family isn't home. And that's one way to handle that. Or it may be that it's a small town, people know each other a lot, and there's not much secrecy or invasion of privacy anyway, because people know each other. That's just the reality of how it is in a lot of rural places in America. So at the end of the day, I'm not sure if somebody said to me, "Art, you want to give a speech? And I'll make sure you can get a supply of eggs for the rest of the year," that that's compensation that I'd want to accept. But I do understand that that's something that allows people to retain pride. It's an offer that sometimes seems absolutely acceptable in some situations. And again, there's no moral stricture in any code of ethics, anything I'm familiar with, that says you have to take the cash. Bartering, bargaining, as long as it's not exploitative, as long as it doesn't violate somebody's dignity and sense of self, I think is a way in tough times that the bill can get paid. I'm Art Caplan at the Division of Medical Ethics at NYU School of Medicine. Thanks for watching.